Welcome to Success Leaves Clues. This is a special episode, longer episode with Daniel Descalso. Daniel Descalso is currently the bench coach for the Major League Baseball St. Louis Cardinals. I have known Daniel for, wow, going back to college, 2006, 2007. We grew up in the same area, competed against each other in our childhood, and a third round draft pick out of UC Davis in Northern California. Infielder, third baseman, specifically left-handed stick. Was drafted by the Cardinals and made his major league debut in 2010. Was part of the Cardinals 2011 World Series championship team, and then went back to the World Series a couple years later. 10 years in the major leagues. As I mentioned, he's now a current bench coach for the Cardinals. And where we dive into in this conversation is we start off by breaking it down to his current transition from player to coach, and specifically within his coaching duties, what he's seen from the top step of the dugout, looking at Major League Baseball players perform at the highest level. We talk about the process, talk about uncontrollables versus controllables, dive deep into fielding, technique, footwork, what he believes in, what's given him success. We go really in depth on timing as a hitter, and there's a lot of good nuggets. And we finish it off with talking about youth development and athlete development, relating to him coaching his daughter's softball and sports teams, and wanting the best as a team, and then within that, for you athletes who want to be recruited, we talk about his recruiting experience and what's most important for somebody to get out of their recruiting, playing at the next level, if you will. So I hope you enjoy this. Here it is, Daniel Descalso. So year one, back with the squad in the dugout, how is that different than the Rover? Obviously that's ideal. You want to be in the clubhouse, in the
Yeah,
locker room daily. What was your takeaway, man? What was your focus on?
man, it was like I learned a lot. Like when you're a player, you're so focused on like yourself. Like yes, you want to win, and there's like a little bit of a broad perspective, but a lot of a lot of your focus is internal and like what do you have to do to prepare for that night, and what do you have to do to make like perform, right? Um, and so this role, like being in the dugout and having like a broader perspective and kind of being able to kind of have my hand in a lot of different pots. Like I wasn't necessarily assigned, like I wasn't pigeonholed to infielders or defense, like or hitting. Like it was nice to kind of jump in where I saw I could, we needed someone to step in, or kind of just rove around and not be pigeonholed and kind of do a little bit of everything. Um, but man, just you forget like the daily, I don't want to use the term anxiety, but like the daily stress of the player, right? Like you're out there trying to, make a name for yourself, whether it's like establish yourself as a young player, whether it's to, make it to arbitration, whether it's to make it to free agency. Like, man, the stressors are real. And if I could help alleviate that in any way, I felt like I was doing my job. But man, just to have that, like people asked, did you feel like there was more pressure, in this spot because like, you didn't really have an effect on the game, like directly? I'm like, no, man, there's no pressure on us. Like our job is to put these guys in positions to succeed and help them where they need like supplementation. But man, there's no pressure on us. I don't have to hit a slider anymore. I don't have to, make a play. We just have to like, make sure these guys have all the information they need to go out there and be successful. So I learned a lot in that aspect, like just how to prepare as like a coach every day, and how to prepare to give these guys what they need to go out there and be their best.
Yeah. It's so crazy, man, to where it's like it's the same game
Yeah.
at every level what you're referring to is at the highest level where there's so much added pressure of media and stands and TV and millions of dollars, right? The external benefits of being the best at what you do. And you did it for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, kudos. And so like, and now you're on the other side of the fence. And so how do you think back, like, what would you tell yourself? Because you obviously handled it well, at least from an appearance side. You don't do something for 10 years and not handle it well. And just from a fan watching, a friend watching, it's like, yeah, you were in big spots and you handled it. And whether you succeeded or not, it seemed like you didn't let it affect you. And that's why you played for so long, right? So
Yeah.
like, what's the transition from coach to player and what you would have done different or what you would trying to pass along to these guys?
So I think one of the things that we tried to stress as a staff this year is like it's you can be selfish and selfless at the same time. I know it might like those seem like two opposites, but you can go out and you can get yours within the confines of doing what's best for the team. Like we talked about early in the season, if no one kept any stats, they didn't put your numbers up on the scoreboard, and you went and you took your at bat and just hit to the game situation and what the game called for. I mean, most of the time you're gonna try to get a pitch up out over the plate and stay to the big part of the field. Like if you just did that and everybody did that at the end of the year, if you guys won a lot of games, everyone's numbers are going to be there. So we talked about like that selfishness of like, yeah, I'm gonna get my numbers. I'm gonna go out there and like try to, take over this game. I want to be the best player on the field, but within the confines of like, all right, that maybe that means I can't go up and hack first pitch here because our pitcher had a long inning, or we're down by 3 or 4, and we need to try to string some at bats together. Or it's I'm not trying to hit a home run, like a huge homer when we just need like to get it to the next guy. So I think as a player, you can get caught up in the individualness of the game. It's a team game, but there's so many individual aspects. It's pitcher versus hitter. It's base runner stealing a base or an individual making a play on defense. That it's possible to be selfish and selfless at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of the game within the game, right?
Yeah.
Do you think there's ever going to be a way, I'm sure the best ones do it, but like talking the mental side here because it's so important. And just like you said, and you threw the word, pressure, people take that as anxiety, people go down a different paths, right? And it's kind of what you label it, honestly, as an individual. And if if we could just eliminate that there's a result, like you just said, like eliminate the scoreboard. People say,
Yeah.
take away the scoreboard, take away that bats, turn it to quality of bat. And I'm a believer, they don't have to sell me on that, right? Like process, work the process and I wasn't like that as a player, which is why I didn't play for that long, right? I tried to
Yeah.
get myself to the big leagues, right? Versus letting it happen. So like, is there any stressor or have you seen examples where it's like, guys, just take what the game gives you and you'll just see the result at the end. Like, is it actually like, are people taking that approach?
I mean, we try, but it's hard. It's hard to tell a guy that, maybe he's hammering balls all over the field, right? But he's got no results to show for it. And how do you tell him, hey, you're doing everything right? Here's your numbers. Here's like your quality of contact. Here's your exit velocity compared to the rest of the league. Like, here's what your expected numbers are. Like, we use that a lot. But at the end of the day, like, it's a results game. Like, if you line out to the center fielder 100 times, like, yeah, part of you is going to go back to the dugout and be like, man, I hit that ball good, but you're going to have nothing to show for it. You're 0 for 100. Like,
Mhm.
it's really hard as a player to separate the result from the process. And like, trust the process has been like, so cliche and hammered home, but like, that's all you can really focus on. Once you put the ball in play, you have no control over where they're positioning you, what the ball does, what ballpark you're playing in. Our ballpark is not a hitter friendly ballpark. And that was a big discussion amongst our hitters this year, was like, that's a homer in 26 other ballparks, but it's out here, like, how do we tell these guys that they're doing exactly what they need to be doing when in their mind that's an out? So now I'm going to try to do more and I'm going to cheat and try to hit it pull side instead of that ball was just caught in the opposite field gap. And now I'm more susceptible to off speed or pitches in other parts of the plate. So it's it's really about like building up that trust and giving these guys the information and the tools like, hey, you are doing everything that we want you to do. Like you don't need to do any more. You've run into some bad luck or maybe a bad stretch, but like you're swinging at good pitches, you're hitting the ball hard, you're staying off the ground. Like just keep trusting it, and you don't have to do more. But as a player, like I'm only going to get moved up to the next level or get paid based on my numbers, not my expected numbers.
Mm-hmm. Gosh. And so, yeah, it's that fine line. You believe it. Okay, great. I lined
Yeah.
out 4 times today, 0 for
Yeah.
4, right? And then the next day you're like, you rolled over 4 times, and now you're pissed. And now you're like, screw the process,
Yeah.
screw this. I'm going back and I'm chasing hits. And now
Yeah.
it's you're 1 for 20 with 15.
Yeah. It's hard to chase hits. Like, man, we've all been there. Like, I got to get a hit here. I'm 0 for 10. Everyone knows when they're gone, hit a little skid, like, and you try to do more and then you chase, or, you find yourself 0-2 every at bat for like, it's hard to fight like that inner mental demon of like, I have to hit my way out of this. And sometimes it's a walk can get you back on track. Sometimes it's, you know, uh, a bunt hit or something, or a long at bat where you foul off a bunch of pitches and you end up getting out. But you're like, man, all right, now I feel like either my timing's back or, I feel like I'm in the right spot. It can come and go so quickly. But yeah, you just you try to get these guys to buy into, the process and not the result. And even from a like early on in like high school and college for me, you know I I had someone hammer home like quality at bats and like you can only control what you can control, and that's getting a good pitch to hit and like putting the barrel on it. Everything after that is out of your hands. And then as you get older and understand the swing more, you can, start to manipulate that and, try to hit the ball in the air, like hit a line drive in the gap and learn how to either get the ball off the ground or get the ball out of the air. But if you don't have that foundation of, strike zone, like plate discipline and barrel accuracy, like it's going to be hard to do those other things later.
All right. Gosh. So the barrel accuracy and the plate discipline, like if you could take, let's just say you have those two, and then you have bat speed, you got mechanics, you have approach,
Mhm.
anything that encompasses a hitter, complete hitter. If you were going to go up to the plate, what's one thing that you could take there that you would like, no, this is going to help me this time?
I know right now I haven't had a competitive at bat in years, but I know right now I can go up there and I can control the strike zone. Like
Okay.
I think that's so important. Like you could have the greatest swing, greatest barrel accuracy, but if you're up there just swinging at everything, whether it's over the plate, high, low, like it's hard to hit pitches that aren't over the plate. Like there's a reason why numbers on pitches out of the zone are bad. Like it's not a good way to go up there and hit. Like you might get away with it every now and then, but if you can go up there and you can control the strike zone, and that means taking that pitch early in the count that maybe it's a strike, but it's not something you can do damage on, and like you live to see another day and you're okay hitting 0-1 or hitting or taking that 1-0 pitch, now you're 1-1 and you're okay hitting with the strike on you. Now you free yourself up to look to do damage more often. Like, yeah, you get the 2 strikes, you start the battle, but man, if you can control the strike zone, like pitchers don't want to throw the ball over the heart of the plate. They don't. They're like, they're trying to avoid barrels. And if you can get that guy into a count where he has to come over the heart of the plate, like now you get your swing off, and now that barrel accuracy and that bat speed you can really work with it.
Yeah, and it's undertrained, that whole part of it, and at every level. How do you guys? The way I just kind of broke this down is I didn't break it down, but I put it on paper and trying to bring just awareness to kids in a training session, especially during this winter
Mhm.
time where it's training, a lot of training, not a lot of games. It's like Okay, an aggressive hitter, at least in college numbers, is swinging the bat like around 42%.
Yeah.
Like that's the average, right?
Okay.
35 is low, 50 is
Hmm.
aggressive, dude. And it's probably similar at the big league level. And so, okay, think about it. Let's just take 40. 4 out of 10, you're swinging at it. Well, if we go practice right now and we go take 100 swings, you're probably only taking probably about 5 or 10 pitches.
Yeah.
And so your ratio, you're swinging 90% and it's just backwards. And so people don't understand the value of just taking balls and swinging at strikes.
It's huge. I mean, it can flip the count for you. Um, it can put you on time. Like it's the more you train, because you're right, it's not trained, but most of the time when we're hitting BP, it's whether if the coach is throwing, he's throwing a lot of strikes. So I think we've seen the shift in training to like not overtraining, but more intense training where we have a machine that's called Traject. It mimics it's like a screen. It has the pitcher on there and it spins the ball just like he does. And it's really tough. And you go up there and if you can put some balls in play and take some pitches, like guys have said, they feel more prepared going into the game because they've seen the way the ball comes out. So instead of just training ourselves with coach BP, the guys the coach moves back a little bit, increases the velocity, tries to throw the ball around the zone instead of just trying to throw the ball over the plate where a guy can, work on, driving the ball to the pull side. It's like more of a game like the more you can train in game like situation, the better off. I think the better the results are. Like, and even saying that there's no replacement for game reps. Like if you're going to get better, you just have to play in games. Like it's hard to just go hit coach BP and say like, all right, really really zone in on taking the balls and swing at the strikes. But if you can do it in a game, like man, that's where the results really can come into play.
Yeah, because you fall into the trap of feel good BP.
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to feel good.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do as a player. You want to feel good going into the game, right? Like no one wants to feel like crap after BP, and then you go into the game, you're like, man, my BP stunk today. Like, um, but if you can put yourself in an uncomfortable spot and really train at that level, I think people have seen some good results from that.
Yeah. So if you go into compete mode before a game, let's just say you have a progression. You get in there, and this is probably how it looks for most guys, is you get in there, you get loose, you get your feels down, you work what you work specifically, top hand, bottom hand, rotation, whatever. And then it's like, all right, let's turn the lights on here in the batting cage or on the field,
Yeah.
right? Machine BP. And it's like, okay, try to dice me up. I'm competing. And what here's the gap that people don't realize. And curious on your take at your level is they'll face that nasty pitcher or machine that's throwing the slider that's over challenging because this guy's committed to that
Mhm.
school and he's got a great slider, and they think they have to go 10 for 10. And in reality, they probably foul tipping 7 of them, maybe grounding out 1 of them, and maybe probably swinging missing, right, as well. And so they're going the wrong way. They have the right idea, but then they fail because they don't know the process that's happening in this game environment of training harder than the actual pitcher. And so like now they're like, oh, my swing's messed up. And I got what's wrong with my swing? Hey, am
Yeah.
I bat
Right.
tipping? Am I long? Am I so like do you feel like they understand hey, we're going into this. We got the best pitcher, the Cy Young guy, his sliders coming in, and they're hitting 100 off it. You're not going to swing at it. Like train not to swing at it. Like how does
Yeah.
that practice environment?
Yeah, I think it depends on our game plan, whether our hitters meeting, it's like, hey, we're really trying to lay off this pitch tonight. Or this is a pitch that he lands a lot. So, guys, we have the capability in the cage to dial up that machine and almost mimic the movement and the spin that we're going to see that night. And we have these the balls in there, like the foam balls. Guys
Yeah.
love the foam balls. Like those are in the last few years, those have become really popular. And I think there were some guys in the past that hated the machine because they would get blown up by it, get jammed, hit off the end, and they're like, "Man, I'm not going to do this. I want to feel good." But with these foam balls, these guys can hit forever. You don't get blown up. You can really, really mess with just ramp up that velo or ramp up that the shapes on the breaking pitches, And I think guys are more apt to do it now because of those foam balls, and you don't have the risk of like you don't have to cheat so you don't get blown up. Like I've seen guys in the cage in the past with regular baseballs, you're like, man, you're not taking your normal swing because you're cheating a little bit because you don't want to get blown up in the cage. No one wants to get blown up ever, but like it just feels worse when you're hitting off a machine. Like you don't want to get blown up in front of your teammates and the coaches. Like, and then you're gonna say, oh, my swing's messed up. And one note on that is like I had a great hitting coach in AAA, not like a mechanics guy. He was more old school, like feel. Um, he'd always be like, "Man, it's not your swing; it's what you're swinging at." Like everyone's swing is your swing is your swing. Like we're not gonna, maybe in off season we can make an overhaul, but like day to day, week to week, most of the time, like let's not look, let's not look at our mechanics. We watch video. He'd be like, cover your swing. Let's just see what pitches you're swinging at today, and see if you even got any pitches to hit. And so I always remember that it's like it's not your swing, it's what you're swinging at. And
Yeah.
so towards the like latter half of my career, I'm like, if I was going through a bad stretch, that's the first thing I would check. Am I swinging at what I want to swing at? Like we talked about earlier, it's hard to hit. Hitting's hard enough, but like when you're not either getting good pitches to hit or swinging at good pitches, it makes it even harder. So
Yeah.
that's like a good first checkpoint. Like, am I getting pitches to hit? Am I swinging at good pitches? And then go from there.
Yeah. I remember like what somebody's told me that you're only as good as the pitch you swing at.
Yeah,
And it's the same concept. Like, oh, you're 4 when we chased 4 times, right?
right. Like, what do
So
you expect?
I know. That yeah, and I remember seeing Goldschmidt. He played with him,
Hmm.
and I think this was actually when he was in Arizona, and I competed against him in the minor leagues. Was just hitting oppo homers.
Yeah,
Like I didn't know how to pull the ball, which was amazing. And he came out and it said somewhere he's like, I asked myself one question, like, did I swing at the pitch I wanted to, or something along those lines? And it's so true, right? Like simplify the game, and you'll have to worry less.
yeah. I mean, going up there with a plan and like sticking to your plan, like being a good self-evaluator. What do I do well? What does this pitcher do well? How do those things match up? How is he going to try to get me out? And just like being a good self-evaluator and a good game planner, that helps as well. Like I should know what I do well, what pitches I handle, what pitches I don't handle. So if I'm not a good breaking ball hitter and the guy throws me a first pitch breaking ball, like why am I going to go up there and swing at it? Oh, 1, I can if I take it, I'm 0-1. Like maybe he'll try to sneak a heater by me now, and I'm a good fastball hitter, and I'm ready to hit. Like we give these guys a lot of credit that they can make, they can dot up 3 pitches back to back to back, and like I don't want to take this pitch because now I'm down 0-1 and then I'll be down 0-2 and I don't want to strike out. Like a lot of fear of striking out, right? Like that's where we see early balls put in play weekly on pitches that we don't want to swing at. But if I know what I do well and I am committed to that process and that plan, and I stick to it, and I'm like honing in on one zone, and if he throws it there, I'm ready to be aggressive. Like that's a great mindset and a great plan of attack going into an at bat.
Absolutely. Let's you are a smooth defender. Okay. Great glove. You got a magnet in there. Gold glove, or I know
No,
you're
no, no.
second. You're
Fine.
runner up.
I was a finalist one year. A finalist one year. Yeah.
Yeah. 2010 or 13 or what?
11. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. We're talking about 2013 Red Sox Cards World
Yeah.
Series. He went out there
Yeah.
with you. I went out there with Nava,
That's right.
couple Lancers.
Yeah.
That was game 6, and anyways, that was just a good time. Obviously, maybe you guys obviously want to win, but in general, just a good environment. Boston. What is your favorite? What was your favorite ballpark to play in?
I have two. Love San Diego, Petco Park. Um, Just something about the surface. It's like pristine. Um, I think it's a good place to hit. Since they move the fences in, I think it plays more fair. Weather's always nice. Like San Diego, it's hard to beat. Wrigley is another one. Like Wrigley on a weekend, it's packed. The bleachers are going nuts. Chicago in the summer, that environment is great. And then I also like Dodger Stadium. I always hit well there. I think I have a bunch of homers there, like more than any other visiting ballpark. Same thing, like nice surface, just like Petco. So those are my top three.
Isn't it weird how like you can say the same thing about golf?
Yeah.
Hey, you just tee off on this hole,
Yes.
you're piping it. This hole,
Yeah.
you're hitting into the trees,
Yeah. Yeah.
no
Just
matter.
like I hated San Francisco. I hated playing there. Just it was like cold. It can be cold and like wet in June. The park is huge. Like it felt like you were hitting uphill. I don't know. That was just I did not hit well there.
Yeah, it's no doubt. Hey, I hated college. I could not stand hitting at Cal. I felt
Yeah.
like I was uphill.
Yeah.
There was like this, the dude was on top of me.
It's
Same thing with
just
Sunken
I
Diamond, where
know.
like you go to, you're like so far away.
Yeah. It just feels I don't know. There's some like places that where it just doesn't like suit your eye or just it puts you in a weird feel and then it's just hard to come back from that.
Yeah. And then on the opposite side, like you said, there's places like, dude, let me hit again. Let me hit
Yeah.
again. Even
Yeah.
if you get out, like,
The ball just looks huge for some reason. You
I
just
know.
feel comfortable there.
Yeah, which is silly, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
What about defense? Let's talk defense. You had a phenomenal glove, great arm. You played all around the infield. And what are you seeing? What did you believe in fundamentally? And what are you seeing? Because you roved last year. What are you seeing like the younger guys do that the older guys don't do? Yeah,
I'm
just
I'm seeing this trend with this little red machine.
yeah,
I don't know a lot of
yeah.
I mean,
I have one. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's I think you pretty much you go out to BP early and you see every team has the little red machine and you can fireballs at guys without them same thing like with the foam balls hitting like you can fireballs at guys without them having the fear of like getting one on the palm or off your throwing hand like you can just mimic game like situations and put balls in spots that you want without having to rely on a fungo hitter. Um, I think that's a huge tool that people are using now. We've even used the bigger machine on the field to simulate more like game speed ground balls. I know guys were into that this year. So we'd get the machine out there probably twice a month at home and just like kind of rip balls at guys. Try to create more game like at high exit velo ground balls. Um, I think the defense is it's just like hitting. It's kind of individualized. Like we have these numbers like, hey, you're much better going to your left, or you're better on your backhand. So we can kind of hammer home and work on those individual areas. But I think there's some certain things that you have to do well. Like you have to be in a good ready position, right? You have to whatever your pre-pitch is, if it's a hop, if it's like a step into it or a shuffle into it, when that ball's crossing the hitting zone, you're either about to land or you're just have landed. So you don't want to land too early and be stuck and have to start again. You don't want to land too late where the ball's already past the pitcher's mound and now you're landing and now you're having to make up ground. So we're even like working on that timing during BP, like it's a simple thing you can do, but there's so many pitches, like so many opportunities to practice that pre-pitch timing and see, all right, how do I get a good first step? And that carries over into the game. And I got a chance to watch Mason Wynn play shortstop this year, and the kid is like impressive. And he's got a cannon for an arm. So if like all he knows, like if he gets to the ball, like he's got a strong, accurate arm, like that guy's gonna be out. So I think knowing that, like he doesn't have to rush through his plays because he knows he has a strong arm. Now, if you're a guy that doesn't have as strong of an arm, maybe you have to be just a little quicker from receiving the ball to getting rid of it without rushing. So just again, learning what you do well, practicing those things that you are deficient at, and carrying that over into the game. I think that's what we try to do as coaches for our defenders, just like we would. It's just as important as working with hitters.
hmm And what about like you were more, if we're to label you, you were more in the category of like basic fundamental,
Boring.
boring,
Yeah.
do simple better,
Yeah.
not flashy.
Right.
Whereas, we see a lot of flash, a lot of, you
Yeah.
know, glove flip, feel,
Right. Right.
timing, dance around the ball, particularly, from my experience from college to high school kids, is they overtrain the footwork, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing to understand how the footwork, can benefit you. But right out of the gate, like I'll never forget, I had a kid show up at practice and we went like live infield with a hitter hitting it and our big guy hit one like 110 off the bat. And this guy tried to dance around it and the ball went right by him.
Yeah, you don't have time.
You don't have time. And so like understanding the efficiency of the footwork is really important. How does that did you play with Arenado or
Yes, yes, yeah.
that guy moved? Once again, I saw him in the minor leagues for 2 years straight. Um, Great footwork. Like, I mean, what are you seeing with the footwork at that level? Because they hit the ball so hard.
Yeah, I mean, take Nolan for example. He's a guy that really understands like how to use his feet, and he's not he. You would not say he's fast by any means. Like you probably wouldn't even say he's like a fast twitch guy at all. But his first step at third base, the position he puts himself, and how he reads it off the bat, and how he uses his feet to take him there is second to none. And obviously he's a little bit older now, but if you look at that, his first step numbers from early in his career when he had that stretch of all those gold gloves, I mean, you just see how he gets off the ball and how once he catches the ball, like he's not in a hurry to stop his feet. He'll field the ball and he'll keep his feet moving
Yeah.
until his body is under control enough and he can deliver a strong, accurate throw. I mean, nobody really throws on the run like he does. But it's something that he's practiced. And I had an infield coach in the minor leagues tell me something similar. Like if you're fielding the ball on the run or you're going to throw on the run, like don't be in a hurry to get rid of it. Like you're better off taking an extra step or two and getting your body under control to make a strong, accurate throw than rushing to get rid of it. Now, I mean, with that being said, there are some situations where you have a fast runner and you have to get rid of it. But being able to like keep your body under control and take an extra step or two, like if you watch Nolan do that, it's pretty impressive, and nobody else does that.
Yeah, he really created that play over there at third base. I'd say him and kind of then Machado would move from I think short from third, and he started to kind of add to that. But
Yeah,
like where he feels that backhand, he makes that like I call it like a C. He makes that
yeah.
C angle with his body, which is like 5 steps, and then he fires it. It's amazing. He can
I
also
mean, yeah,
get backwards and things.
yeah. You would think that would be too much time, but I mean, he has a good internal clock. He knows his arm strength, and he knows that if by doing that, he's allowing himself, like his body, to get under control again, so he can make a strong, accurate throw.
Yeah.
Um, and let's see, what was I going to say? Something about, we back to that little machine. Like I think it's important for like young players
Yeah.
to train, like, you know, being comfortable with that, with like your forehand and getting that throwing hand out of there.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times, like, you want to feel that, like that perfect ground ball, perfect form, that one right at you, you get your hand here. But as you get to your like forehand and you try to field it with two hands, that throwing hand sort of limits the reach with your glove and can a lot of times get in the way. So I think us training that forehand glove only, and then for young kids using that machine or even working, like getting comfortable backhanding the ball. Like yes, if you can get around it, get around it. But if you're comfortable using the backhand, like that is such a good weapon to have, and it's
Mhm.
something that should be part of your repertoire, and you should be comfortable doing it. Like balls are going to be hit to that side. If you can't get around it, you got to be able to make that play with the backhand.
Yeah. If you feel it with one hand, you can feel it with two hands.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
you gotta have the confidence. Yeah.
yeah, like you said, a guy hits a hot smash like 110 at you, you're not going to try to field it with two hands. You're going to either drop step and field it with one, or pick it on the short hop. Like find a way to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. Trust the glove.
Yeah.
What if you can go and we have I don't want to say we have 5 minutes left, but this trial has 5 minutes left, and then I'll send you one back. We'll do another like 10
All
minutes,
right.
whatever. Is if you can go back in time and take away the gray hair and you go back to your playing career, knowing what you know now, let's just talk offensively. Go back to college to your transition, how you swing adjustments, because I know you
Mhm.
went through some stuff like that. What would you, 10 years ago, how would you start today?
So I think at the simplest form, like hitting, I would say give myself time over searching for perfect timing. Um, as a, I was like never an everyday player. So I was always trying to like, how can I simplify my swing to where if I'm not playing every day, I just have this, I have my standard simple approach and swing, and I can go up there whether I've had 10 at bats this week or it's my first at bat this week. And I had a hitting coach say it's like time, not timing. I'm like, man, that makes sense. Like, give yourself time. Like, start early enough, whatever your move is, to make so that you can make all of your moves and see that pitch and recognize whether it's one I want to swing at or not. I think as like a bench player, I'm looking for like, all right, I just need to pick it up and put it down and be like as short and simple as I can. And I found myself like sometimes not knowing when to start. And then you get started late. My hips would kind of slide forward. I get uphill and like everything would just get out of whack. Where later in my career, I wouldn't call it like a leg kick, but it was more a leg lift. And I kind of gathered it in my backside. And I started that early. And I knew that once that pitcher was about to release the ball, my stride foot had to be at the top of its leg kick or lift, and that's when I knew I had given myself enough time. So I just think in order to get your swing off, whatever your swing is, like you have to give yourself time to do it. And I wish I would have understood that as a young player, because once I understood that, that really helped me to make those swing changes and to lay off some of those pitches and to really like start walking more and controlling the strike zone more.
Yeah, swinging at your pitch.
Yeah, it just I knew that I didn't have to worry about when to start. I knew when I had to get my foot up, and then I just had to recognize the pitch and decide whether to swing or not.
Would you say that there's process time to understand that, right? If let's say your move was, you hovered, you had a leg lift, and you had a little bit of a load, and from the time your eyes recognized, oh, he's in the windup, he's in the stretch, whatever that would be, you did your work on deck, is okay, when he breaks his hands, when he lifts his leg, I'm lifting my leg. When would you label it and start it?
Yeah, I think if you ask a lot of hitters, young hitters, maybe even some professional hitters, hey, where's the pitcher when you're at the top of your leg lift? Like I bet you a lot of guys wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
Um, I think, just kind of finding that rhythm with the pitcher, like as he shows you, starts to go into his leg lift, like that's probably when you should have some sort of gather, whatever your move is. Like if it's a bigger move, it might have to be a little sooner. If it's a smaller move, you can probably wait a little longer. But as that guy is lifting his leg, like that's probably a good indicator that you should have some weight shift going or some gather, or maybe your front foot's already off the ground, and like now it's just can you control it or not. So whether it's when to start or where when I'm at the top of my lift, like where is the pitcher, and understanding that so that you can kind of work backwards. And all right, when he picks his leg up, I pick my leg up, or when he breaks his hands, that's when my leg goes up. So
Mhm.
learning that helps, because that's another simple checkpoint. Just like, what are we swinging at? All right, am I late? Am I starting too late? Like, let's see. Normally, my leg, my stride leg is here. When he breaks his hands, well, it's not there yet. It's still getting up there as he's delivering the pitch. Okay, I just have to start a little sooner.
Yeah. Well, you told me that you want to see the ball. That could be the most important
Hmm.
thing. And you're telling me now that you having time to allow you to see the ball. So, am I on time? Do I have time? Thumbs up for that, and thumbs up for seeing the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
Two of the biggest things that, like you said, did I swing at the right pitch? Like you're hitting coach Triple A. Did I swing at the right pitch? Yes or no?
nothing to do with mechanics, right?
I know.
Nothing to do with your swing.
Yeah.
Am I on time? Did I swing at the right pitch? Like two easy fixes, like really easy fixes without messing with mechanics or anything else.
Yeah. So what, last question I want to ask about your golf game is, you're a little league legend in San Carlos, city, good living. If let's go to the little league advice here. More so athletic advice, play more sports, things
Mhm.
like that. What, and you see, how old's your oldest?
She is 8.
Okay, so kind of priming in the
Yeah,
next 4 years
yeah.
is a big year, especially female. They they go earlier,
Hmm.
is what is your belief? What is your approach just in terms of like fatherhood, parenting, from what you've seen and the added pressure that could be put on if you put too much pressure on yourself in terms of like developing an athlete? Is it play more sports? Is it, hey, embrace challenge, embrace like what is Double D thinking, saying to his daughter for the
Yeah.
next few
Yeah.
years?
So, I mean, my daughter's played pretty much everything. She's done soccer, she's done flag football, she's tried volleyball, softball, has done tumbling, dance, gymnastics. Like, I would just expose them to as many activities, sports as you are able to, and as many as they'll tolerate without like overbooking them. Like, we've tried to pick like two activities a season. And she's 8 years old now, so she didn't want to play soccer this year. She's like, I don't like running. I'm done with soccer. Like, she played for 3 years. Maybe she'll come back, but like, all right, she's fine. She's really into gymnastics and tumbling. So she wanted to do this, like she's taught herself how to do like back bends and walkovers and kickovers, and like she loves it. So we've never put her in a tumbling class. She does a tumbling class a couple times a week, and she's playing basketball right now. So I just think exposing them to a lot of different things, because you never know what's going to click for them, what they're going to like. And then, man, I've seen some like kids her age that are already on the like super elite soccer track already. And like, I would hesitate to put my kid in that, even if she did love soccer and wanted, like, I've seen other kids get burnt out. Like, I don't know. I just think there's so much value in trying everything and then playing a few different sports at that age. And, if you play soccer, you could translate over into basketball, into, some like my kids do swim team. Like, who knows what benefits you're missing out on if you only play one sport. And the way the brain works, and seeing things on the soccer field could help with basketball, and using your feet could help with footwork in baseball. Like, I see people in a rush to specialize and do the travel teams. Like, I just think at this age, for where my kids are, it's like, expose them, let them try things. Hopefully they have fun and want to sign up again. Like, I've coached a few of her teams and my son's teams. Like, my only goal is to make the kids allow the kids to have fun, and I want them to sign up again next year. Like, I think in my situation, like coaching my daughter's softball or my son's t-ball, like, there may be some parents that have some unrealistic expectations for what I'm able to do as a coach for these kids. But like, we're not sitting there talking about mechanics. I'm like, I want these kids to have fun, learn some fundamentals, and like, my goal is to have them sign up again um, next year. So,
Yeah. They're
I,
probably thinking, oh, let's get Coach Double
yeah,
D out there and he's going to teach exactly what they're teaching Mason Wynn. It's
yeah, yeah,
great. And you're
no,
walking in like, how simple can we make this?
yeah.
How much fun can we
How can we
have?
make it turn it into a game? Let these kids have fun. Like, I have to watch myself because my daughter's like, she's 8. Like, they keep score and stuff now. They know when they've had a good game or a bad game. So I try to, after the game, be like, hey, did you have fun? And did you do your best? Like, those are the first two questions, and then usually I'll leave it alone. Um, but like, every once in a while in basketball, I'll be like, hey, like, you can dribble. She got mad at me the other day. She got a pass and she just like sat there with the ball and like didn't do anything. And I never yell anything from the stands. I said, dribble. And she just like started dribbling. She made a pass. And then later she goes, Dad, I did not like when you did that. I wanted to cry out there. But I was like, you dribbled the rest of the game. And like, she's actually a pretty good dribbler. So I'm like, when you dribble, like, you create opportunities for yourself and you can make some more passes. But I am not a yeller from the stands. I just like to sit there and watch. But I couldn't sit there and watch her like not dribble anymore. So I had to say something.
Yeah, it's to that point of stands, right? Like it's hard enough to go out in any sport and execute what you think is the best thing to do, whether it's dribbling, whether it's swinging at a pitch. And I remember from when I played young, and even when I go out and recruit these high school kids, or I get video, mom and dad video everything, and
Yeah.
just totally okay. But you watch the video, you spectate, and you just watch and observe, and you can see the player walking to the plate, and for example, in baseball or softball, and it's like, make sure you swing at your pitch or get your foot down or whatever
Yeah,
that
yeah,
cue is that
yeah,
they've been honing in all week, all year, and the kid, you could just see the kid walking the plate like
yeah. Like
not
just you
focused
can, you can
instead
just
of
see the
just being,
stress. Yeah,
yeah, instead of just being, Mike Tyson walking to the fight
yeah,
and just going for it, right? And just competing and seeing the ball and hoping that he hits it, right?
yeah.
So that's a tough one.
I know. Like the yelling from the stands is like it. So I helped out. I don't coach your basketball team, but they needed someone to help out at a scrimmage the other day. And a lot of these girls don't know, they're still learning the game of basketball. So I'm sitting there yelling like, "Hey, let's mark our man, get back on offense, get back on defense, like crash the boards." So like I think that stuff, if you're the like let the coach do it, you know?
Mhm.
If you're the parents, like you don't know what the coaches have done at practice. I actually when I was coaching softball a couple of years ago, we played against another team. There were, two very nice moms that were coaching the team, but they kept saying stuff. One of the coaches kept saying stuff to like girls on our team, like, "Hey, do this or that." And I finally had to tell her, "Hey, like, can you? I appreciate what you're trying to do, but like, I don't want our girls to hear two different things from two different coaches. Like, please, you coach your team. I won't say anything to your girls. Like, just let my girls play. I've got them. Like, it can be very, very confusing for kids when either like their coach is saying one thing and their parent is saying another thing. Like, who do you listen to? Like, you're probably trying to please both of them. So, as a parent, when I'm in the stands, like I would just rather sit by myself and watch. Like I just watch. I like watching the kids figure stuff out, or like watching them like when they make a basket or catch a ball. Like they feel like immense accomplishment. Like that's fun for me.
Yeah. And you ask 1,000 coaches, 1,000 former players that played past high school, and they would be in the same situation that we're agreeing on. Sit there, go down the line, spectate, get away from the
Yeah,
parents that didn't play
you're right.
and that are just chatting. And it's, just imagine going to your parents' board meeting and sitting there at the main table, and you're right behind them, right behind their shoulders, like, say this to that guy.
Yeah.
Say this.
how
Now's the
come
time to do that.
how come we didn't say that? We talked about that before.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
just so
Yeah, they just and most of them mean well. They just don't understand how like detrimental that can be, um, during the game. And I know we all want our kids to like do well and succeed, but like we have to let them sort of figure it out for themselves. And man, we've seen so many kids peak at like 8 or 9 or 10 or even like 12, and like just because they're good then doesn't mean they're going to be good at 16 or 20 and keep playing. And just because they're sort of middle of the pack or not that good doesn't mean they're not going to, you know, get better or start to like, puberty is a huge deal. Like kids shoot up and like you never know what can happen. Like so if you ruin it for a kid, if somebody ruins it for a kid at 8 or 10, you never know what they could have turned into if you just made it fun for them.
yeah. I think there's given that I'm on this side of the fence now, not coaching in college and helping high school kids understand what it actually takes to get there is I'm looking for the kid who, okay, they've gone through 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They've kind of risen to the top, more of the top of
Yeah.
their class. So they realize that what they want is to go to the next level. And so they're willing to work for it,
Mhm.
right? And at least they think they're willing to work for it until I tell them what actually
Right.
entails it. And so there's that fine line, right? There's that fine line of like, oh, my son's going to be a D1 commit. He wants to go to Tennessee, LSU, USC.
Of
Name the
course.
top 10.
So
Not
so so do 25,000 other kids. How are you going to separate yourself?
That's it. It's amazing, and there's nothing wrong with having a high goal,
For
but
sure.
you got to be realistic at some point and be a self-evaluator and listen to your coach.
Yeah.
And because that's half it is now, is like, okay, your dream is to go D1, your dream is to play in college, but you're not trending that way and it's too late. Let's
Yeah.
get your next best option.
Right. And you look at it now, like there's for guys that are like late bloomers, whether it's the junior college level or like a mid-major, like there are so many options now where you can end up at a D1 through the NIL and the transfer portals, all like you can if you now more than ever, it's most important to go play. Like if you really want to play, you find a place that you can play and you go play and you ball out, like you'll find yourself at a bigger school. Like it's
Yeah.
simple as that.
Yeah. And what about, because you and I both went to small schools, right? Or smaller schools. And now that we're 10, 15 years removed, whatever it is, it's like I look back on my situation and the first couple of things that I think about is the clubhouse and my friends. My
Mhm.
best friends right now are from college.
Yep.
We grinded on that experience, whether we won or lost. Um, I'm still tight with them, and I don't change that for anything. And then act from an academic standpoint is the education. It's like I have that degree from a great school, and I wouldn't change any of those for anything. Yeah, me particular, you particular, we got drafted, we went to the next level, and that's a byproduct of it. But I mean, what are you looking back and saying like, I went to Davis, my experience was this, and I wouldn't change it for whatever.
Yeah, I think I ended up in the right spot. Like I got to come in as a freshman and compete for playing time right away. Like I started every game in my 3 years I was there. Like I said earlier, the only way to get better is to play. And like I was a freshman and I get thrown right in the fire and like I had to either sink or swim. And so I think that was huge for me just to go in and get to play and get those at bats and those game experiences under my belt. And just like you, those are my best friends. Those are the relationships that stick with you because you're out on your own for the first time. You're grinding through, 6 a.m. weights, the study halls, the managing the academics and the athletics. So I wouldn't have had it any other way. I almost feel bad for these kids right now because they're chasing something that they don't really need to be worried about chasing, all the time. Like find yourself the right fit academic. Like how many guys are going to end up, you know, being big leaguers for a long time and they don't have to use their college degree. Like even so, I went back 2 years ago and I finished up my degree. Like it was something that I had spent so much time working on. I was like, I have 8 classes left. I'm going to do it either now or never. And that's something I'm really proud of. So, try to setting yourself up for success, like in baseball is great, but setting yourself up for success after that is almost equally as important.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Because they're not gonna, in my experience, you're not people are gonna look back at you, whether it's major league teammates, college teammates, and they're not gonna say, "Oh, he had the best swing ever," or they're gonna say that guy was a great dude, or they're not gonna say that because you weren't, right?
Yeah. The only thing I've ever wanted to be remembered as is a good teammate, like as a baseball player.
Yeah,
I don't care if you thought I was a good player, if you thought I was crappy, like if you thought I was a good teammate and you thought I was there, that I showed up every day, um, trying to be a good teammate and trying to do something to help us win, then I did my job. That's
yeah.
all I ever wanted to be remembered for.